I've lived with fibromyalgia for over 25 years now, and I made so many mistakes. I was doing things the hard way, I didn't know what I was doing, and sometimes my own beliefs and behaviours got in my way. So I've put 18 of my hard-won lessons in this video today, and if any of them sound familiar to you, then drop me a comment, or if there's other lessons that you've learned that you'd like to share, put them in the comments too, so that we can all learn from you. Let's start with the first mistake I made and the first lesson I learned. And this happened right at the beginning, before I was even diagnosed, and it impacted my health for years. Staying in bed made me worse. When the pain was unbearable, I stopped moving completely. I thought total rest meant healing. I barely ate, I barely drank. I waited for my husband to come home before I was able to get up and go to the bathroom. But my muscles weakened, my fatigue deepened, and my mood dropped. Rest was necessary, but complete stillness was making everything worse. The turning point wasn't dramatic. I slowly started crawling downstairs, sitting on the sofa, stretching gently. So rest helped, but movement helped too. The lesson I learned was that rest is important, but complete stillness can make you weaker. Gentle movement matters. The second lesson was that searching for a fix was keeping me stuck. Even while I was bedridden, I kept researching. Hundreds of hours, articles, books, diets, supplements. I'm just glad that YouTube wasn't around, or otherwise I would have been watching videos for hours and hours. I didn't trust the doctors. I kept feeling that they hadn't looked deep enough, and I thought if I learned enough, I'd solve it. But what happened was I became anxious, overwhelmed, and confused. Every new piece of information made me feel like I was missing something else. One day I just broke down crying. I was exhausted from trying to control something that I just couldn't control. So I stopped. Not because I'd found the answer, but because I couldn't keep fighting. And when I stopped chasing the fix, the pressure eased. The lesson I learned was constantly trying to fix yourself can keep you stressed. Acceptance is the beginning of real healing. Lesson number 3, illness is a message and not a failure. For years I ignored my pain and discomfort. Then I started asking, what is my body actually trying to tell me? My wrists hurt, so was the knife I was holding too heavy? My shoulders ached, was I tensing them? My feet were killing me, was I standing too long? My symptoms weren't random, they were signals, and when I listened, I felt less helpless. So the lesson was that your symptoms are signals, and listening helps you feel less powerless. Lesson number 4 is that healing is ever changing. It looks different from time to time. What worked one month stopped working the next. A supplement that helped suddenly didn't anymore. A routine that soothed me became overstimulating. I wanted one clear answer, but chronic illness doesn't work like that. So instead of relying on one fix, I built options, a toolbox, different things for different days. The lesson I learned was that what works will change, and that's normal. Learn to adapt instead of expecting one fixed solution. Now, before we go any further, I should say that I've created a book to go alongside this video, and it's made like a reflective journal, and it contains all these lessons but in much more detail with more story behind how I learned these lessons. So you can read through that book and work through these lessons on your own and see if any of them are impacting your life right now. You can read it as an ebook or get the paperback version and write directly into it. It's designed to help you apply these lessons in your own life so you don't repeat the mistakes that I made. The link is in the description below if you'd like to go deeper. Now let's continue with lesson number 5. Learn your body's early warning signs. My flares used to feel sudden, but they weren't. If I looked closely, there was signs like clumsiness, brain fog, irritability, or heavy eyes. My body whispered before it screamed. When I learned to notice the early warning signs, I could sometimes prevent the crash. Not always, but often enough. The lesson I learned was to notice the early warning signs and respond sooner. Don't wait until your body forces you to stop. Lesson number 6. Rest can look like joy. I used to think that rest meant lying in a dark room doing nothing. And sometimes it does, but sometimes it's laughter, music, sitting in the garden listening to the birds, or doing something creative. At first I felt guilty enjoying myself while I was unwell, But I noticed something. When I allowed small moments of joy, my body softened. Rest didn't always have to feel heavy. The lesson I learned was that rest doesn't always mean lying down. Giving yourselves moments of joy and play is vital to help your body settle. Lesson 7 is to reflect, but not blame. After every flare, I replayed everything. Why did I say yes? What did I do wrong? Why didn't I rest sooner? Blame didn't prevent the next crash. It just added stress. But reflecting constructively without blame really helped. I realized that sometimes I had overcommitted. Sometimes I ignored the warning signs. Sometimes there was no clear cause at all. But I learned that attacking myself made flares last much longer. The lesson was to learn what happened, but without self-criticism or judgment. Focus on what could be better next time. Lesson number 8, guilt makes healing harder. I grew up believing work equals worth. Rest had to be earned. So when illness slowed me down and I wasn't able to do as much, guilt flooded in. Guilt for resting, guilt for needing help, guilt for not doing more. That guilt added pressure to an already struggling body. Letting it go happened slowly. Resting without apology, accepting help without shame, and healing became easier. The lesson I learned was that guilt adds pressure to your body. Letting go of it makes healing easier. Lesson number 9. I wasn't weak, I was overloaded. I used to think I couldn't cope, that I wasn't strong enough. But the truth was that I was carrying too much. Responsibilities, expectations, emotional strain. My body didn't fail me. It finally said, that's enough. And it protected me by shutting down. When I stopped asking what's wrong with me and started asking what am I carrying, things changed. The lesson here is that you're not weak. You're carrying too much. Start putting some of it down. Lesson number 10. Not all therapies work for everyone. I tried CBT and it didn't help. I thought I was doing it wrong, failing again. Then someone gently said, maybe this isn't the right fit. And that changed everything for me. It wasn't that therapy doesn't work. It was that not every therapy or tool works for every person. And that's okay. The lesson here is that if something doesn't help, it doesn't mean you failed. Keep looking for the support that fits you. Lesson number 11. Trauma often lives in the body. I didn't think I had trauma, just normal life stress. But I didn't realize how much past trauma was still living inside me until I went to therapy. My body was always tense, always alert. My shutdowns, my fatigue, they weren't just symptoms, they were survival responses. Unresolved trauma doesn't just affect your thoughts, it can change your biology. But the body can also heal through safety. Understanding that helped me stop blaming myself. The lesson here is that your body remembers stress. Feeling safe again helps it begin to relax. Lesson number 12 is make space for yourself. I was very good at meeting other people's needs, but not my own. Illness forced me to stop and ask what I wanted, what I needed. It wasn't selfish, it was necessary. Self-care isn't indulgent, it's essential. Start showing up for yourself like you matter, because you do. The lesson I learned here was that you can't heal if you ignore your own needs. Now, when I talk about healing, I mean being better than we were before, not necessarily recovering fully. Now, lesson number 13, redefine your priorities. Illness helped me strip away the noise. Productivity stopped impressing me. Busyness lost its value. I had to ask what really mattered now, not what used to matter. The lesson I learned here was let this illness help you choose what really matters now for you, not what used to matter. Lesson number 14 was a real eye-opener for me because it was something that I hadn't tried before. Community and validation are healing. When I found a group of people who understood me, something shifted. Being believed relaxed my body. When I was with these people, I didn't feel dramatic or weak. I felt seen, and that mattered more than I expected. The lesson I learned was that being understood helps your body to relax. And you need support, not silence, which is isolating. Lesson number 15, reframe your setbacks. Setbacks used to feel like proof that I was failing. like I'd undone all the progress that I was making. But over time I realised something. The meaning I gave to my setback was how I experienced it. If I saw it as a punishment, I suffered more. If I saw it as information, I learned what I needed next time, how to deal with it better. So not every setback has a deep lesson, but many show you where you need more care. So the lesson here was that the meaning you give a setback or a flare changes how much it hurts and what you learn from it. Lesson number 16, the flare that came out of nowhere. I used to obsess over every flare. What caused it? What did I eat? What did I do wrong? But some flares have no lesson, no trigger, no mistake. They just happen. And that doesn't mean you failed. It means you have fibromyalgia. So the lesson I learned here is sometimes a flare is just part of the condition and we didn't do anything wrong. And that was an important lesson for me to learn. It helped me relax more about flares. Lesson number 17. This illness didn't end me. It revealed who I really am. Before illness, I was always trying to prove myself, working 110%, trying to be useful, trying to be enough. But illness stripped all of that away. Now I live slower, more honestly, less afraid of disappointing people. I'm not weaker, but I'm clearer and stronger in who I am and what I need. The lesson is that this illness changes you, but it can also help you become more honest about who you really are. And the final lesson, you matter first. I lived for everyone else until I couldn't anymore. Illness taught me to stop waiting for permission to matter, to choose myself, to prioritize my well-being. And that shift changed everything. When I made my health the priority, everything became steadier, more predictable, more manageable. So the lesson here is that you don't have to earn your worth. You matter right now as you are. Now these lessons took me 25 years to learn. If you'd like to work through them properly, not just hear them in this video, the Reflective Journal book is available now on Amazon and linked below. It's designed to help you apply these lessons in your own life. But even if you don't buy it, remember, if you're here, you're learning and improving. You can have more good days than bad. So until next time, be gentle with yourself, take care, and be well.